So when you come through to the luxury cruising under Australian 5k per person search engine main page, you'll see here that we have Cruise Finder, which is what we're going to predominantly use this for. We do have a few packaged holidays that can be booked as they are. And then we also have some generic hot deals. These can be across cruise lines, across destinations, and of course offering very good inspiration if you're not quite sure where to start. But of course the main event is the Cruise Finder and being able to search multiple cruise lines, destinations to find the right one for you. So on this first page, I really don't recommend using any of these filters unless you've already done your research and you just want to get to the cruise as quickly as possible to be able to book it, because then you can choose the cruise line, the cruise date, and the destination and the ship, and that'll bring that straight up for you so you can get into booking it straight away. So what we're going to do is, you can see here we've got 60,792 sailings. So we need to narrow that down quite a bit to find the perfect one. So we're going to click Search Cruises. And down here on the left hand side, this is what we're going to use to filter our options. So we can see we've got quite a few to get through. So my recommendation first of all is, if you do know roughly when you're going to be travelling, to put in those dates. Let's say we're going to be travelling in September 2027, and you can of course select multiple dates, but we're going to do September 27 and we apply that filter. Great, so now we've only got 2,000 to search from. So the next one, really, it depends on you, because you may know where you want to go. You may know which cruise lines you do or don't want to travel. You might know the departure port, so you only want to sail from Sydney, for example. So really what you do next is up to you, but mainly the destination is going to be most people's next filter. So we do more, and you can see we've got everything from Africa, Alaska, the Amazon, Australia, the Caribbean. So we've decided that we would like to go to the Mediterranean. So the Mediterranean itself can also be split up. So we've got the Eastern Mediterranean, we've got all of the Mediterranean, and then there'll also be the Western Mediterranean, the Southern Mediterranean, that kind of thing. But we just know we want to go to the Mediterranean. So we're going to apply that filter. So now we've got 260 itineraries departing in September 2027 in and around the Mediterranean. Now, for example, I know that I would like to travel on certain cruise lines, so I'm going to filter that. So I might very much like Celebrity because I've been with them before, but also I might try a few other ones. So let's try Holland America and Oceania, and we'll go apply. It could be you've also seen our deals with Azamara or one of the other cruise lines like Silversea, Seabourn, Regent, for example. So now we have 41 itineraries. So we could leave it at this and go through those 41 itineraries. So we can sort them by the departure date, the cruise line, so we can see all of the cruise lines together and then look at the next cruise line and then look at the next cruise line. Or we might be very interested in particular prices. So we can search just the cheapest price across all categories. We can search interior prices, ocean view prices, suites, and also balconies. So we know that we want a balcony. And here we are. So the cheapest balcony crew cabin in September in the Mediterranean is on, of the cruise lines that we chose, is Holland America's Oosterdam, which is Athens to Rome. So what we can do here is we can view the itinerary, and this will tell us roughly what time we're going to be there. So these can obviously always change, but it gives us a good indication of how much time we're going to have ashore. There may be several departures, so actually we quite like this itinerary, but they have got it in August and it is going to save us some money. So maybe we might be open to changing the departure. We can also look at the cruise line. So we don't really know much about Holland America. So we can have a look at the ship, the dining, the bars, the entertainment, and other onboard activities. We can also look at the gallery, deck plans, which is very important for when we're looking at our rooms, and the different staterooms. So we're looking at the balconies so we can see the different types, and some facts about the ship. So this particular ship started in 2003 and she was last refurbished very recently in April 25, so she's going to look quite nice and new. A few other things: cancellations, gratuities, pregnancies. So it really is all about having the information there for you to make an informed decision. So also we can add to our comparisons. So there's a few itineraries, so we can keep going and see if anything else stands out to us. So that's quite a good one. We'll add that in. And that one's also quite similar. So you'll see they're quite similar itineraries, and we put them in our comparisons and we do our compare. So we can see Holland America, Celebrity, we can see the different ship names, and we can see actually where the itineraries are taking place, the departure dates, and the length of cruise. We can then do our price comparisons and see the itineraries. From here, we may go, okay, so out of these itineraries that I've narrowed it down to, this one, it's the highest price for balcony, but it is giving me really the itineraries that I want. And also, if we look on a day by day, so this one is 7 nights and this one is 10. So if we decide that that is the one that we want, we click continue. This will then bring up the, again, information on the cruise line. So we can add in children. So this will all be in the same room. So we have to do it per room. So you can't do multiple cabins in the one booking. It does have to be individual. So we can do up to 4 guests in most rooms. Children, we have to put the ages in, but we're just going to leave it as 2 adults. If anyone is over the age of 55, we can tick this box. We can also put our past passenger number in there, because that's also, if we've travelled with them before, going to bring up any potential savings that we have. We can check if there's any accessible rooms, and also if there are any interconnecting cabins, which if you are travelling as a family with children, you may want that. So again, scrolling down, we have our itinerary, we have other sailing dates, and we have cruise info. Policies, pretty much the same information as we had before. So we've decided this is what we want. We want 2 people and we are going to book it. And it will bring up this page for us where we can choose our rooms. So before I continue, if we were not going to do a comparison and we just decided that this was the cruise that we wanted, we would just click continue. And you'll see this brings up the exact same page. So that's the only difference when you're going from either a comparison, you click continue, or if you're going from the main search, you click the continue here. Okay, so with our rooms, we can choose inside, ocean view, balcony and suite. But from each category, we can also decide where we want to be. So these are our lead-in options and they are quite often on a guarantee. This means that you are not going to be able to allocate your room number. This is often the cheapest price, but it does mean that the cruise line can give you any room on the ship, and once they allocate your room, we cannot change it. As a travel agent, I would rarely advise to do a guarantee. I would always recommend to book an actual cabin number and to be able to choose exactly where you are on the ship. And so you can see here that it may cost a little bit more, but not too much. So we're going from the lead-in price of $2,791 per person to $2,980 per person. My personal recommendation is that it is always better to know where you're going to be. And also another rule of thumb is that the higher up the categories you go, the more midship you will be. So typically the cheaper rooms are near the front, then the back in the middle price, and then the more expensive ones in the middle, because that is the most preferred option. So we're going to go back up because we of course would like a beautiful balcony. We select the balcony and again we have our guarantee. Now also with the guarantee, you will not get a cabin that is below what you have booked. So they cannot give you an inside or an ocean view if you have booked a balcony. They may upgrade you, and I know a lot of people quite like that, but it can basically be anywhere on the ship that is a balcony and above. And typically the rooms that they allocate are the rooms that people do not want to pay for. So they may be below a nightclub, they may be below public space. Some people are very lucky and they do get some amazing upgrades on a guarantee. But as a travel agent, I would never recommend them unless they are the only option and my customers absolutely want to get on that sailing. So I'm going to go up now to the deluxe veranda because I want something that's quite nice. And the difference in the pricing, you'll see we go from 3,874. The next category down is 3,716. So with Celebrity, there's not actually that much difference in the prices. The concierge, obviously you're going to see here all the different things that you get with the different room types. And when we found the one that we're after, you'll see here. So this one is a buy one get one half off offer. And what you need to remember with this pricing is that that is already taken into consideration. So you will not be getting further discounts. Here, so this one is a non-refundable deposit. If we want a more flexible option, then we're going to spend a little bit more money, but we know if we cancel up to a certain period, we are going to get our money back. So if you need that flexibility. This one here, we can see we have the all included. So we can have one or more fare on the sailing, either the drinks package or the Wi-Fi. So we can choose which one we want. And again, cruise lines like to have lots of different fare prices, so it's really about finding the one that's right for you. So we've decided we want the drinks package included. We're going to book now. And it gives you a friendly reminder so that we don't mind necessarily that if we cancel, we're going to lose our deposit. We just want that price including the drinks package. So here we then have our room selection. So we can see that this particular room type that we've chosen is only available on deck 8. And we can see that they are located in the centre, which is where the red lights are flashing, which is why the price, you know, has gone up a little bit more than say the 3.8 that we were initially looking at. So we can scroll down here and we want this room, which is going to be 8107 because it's the most in the middle. And we now have our summary. So we can see that our total price is $10,432. This is a breakdown. So this is the cruise fare. These are your taxes. And this is the total per person that you are going to pay. So we can see here that our deposit is $900 and our finals are due on the 4th of June. We then add our passenger details. It's very important if you have a middle name to add your middle name, because they will need that for when you get on board, and sending out tickets will be a bit of a problem. Some cruise lines also charge a change fee if we have to make changes to the name or add middle names. So it's very important to add that if it's on your passport or whatever ID you're using, to add it in at this stage. Date of birth, and if you are a past passenger, to add it in here. The nationality, that is what is showing on your identification. So if, like myself, you were born in England but you'll be travelling with an Australian passport, you put Australia. If you were travelling on a British passport but you live in Australia, you would put your you would put your nationality as British. So whatever is on the ID that you will be using when you board the ship. Passenger 2, email address, phone number, also important to be able to receive invoices, not invoices. So email address and phone number. So this will be for the cruise line to contact you. If you would like them to contact you, then please complete this. Okay, so let's fill in here and we go book. Okay, so now we need contact. Now, a lot of the cruise lines, the major ones today, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, Holland America, Cunard, they have the different dining times. So this is really great that you can get all of that done up front and you don't have to start worrying about it closer to departure. Now we can see already that the earlier dining is not there. So my recommendation, if you do want the early dining and it is not showing as available, because it is usually the first one to go, click the open or the celebrity select option, which is what Celebrity call their open dining. And then once the booking is made, you can reach out to us and we can put through a waitlist request for the early dining. Or some of the cruise lines also allow us to do it on here as well, so we can waitlist that. We can waitlist, we want 6 people and we would like twin beds because we're not married, or we might be married and we just want twin beds. So then also while you're on board, if you are going to be celebrating something, then you can put that on here. And we're celebrating everything. Retirement, graduation. Now this is important if you are traveling, because you can only book one cabin per booking. So if you are traveling with multiple people, then you can add their reservations in here, and that will cross-link you so that they know you want to dine at the same table, or you may be on some coaches together doing excursions and that kind of thing. So you just add them in here. All of these things here, if you don't know when you're making the booking, or if someone else books later, or if you want to make changes, these are all things that you can contact us post booking, and we will of course assist you with them. And any tours and transfers, which this cruise line don't offer. Okay, so we now have 3 options. So the first one is that we want to hold this room. We want to know that we've got this room for X amount of time. It's usually 24 hours. So we want to know that that room is there at that price while we go away and discuss, have a look at flights, have a look at hotels, have a look at the rest of the holiday. We can hold that in and know that it's still there. Or we can save this whole thing as a quote. The pricing won't be confirmed, so it won't hold the price, but at least we've got a quote that we know when we're coming back to it which cruise we were looking at, what date, and what room type that we looked at. Or you can continue to payment. And if you can continue to payment, you will be required to put in a credit card. It'll tell you how much will be charged, and then you'll complete the details. Of course, this is all done securely and will be paid out to the cruise lines, usually within 24 hours of making the booking. Sometimes it's instant, the payment will go straight from here to the cruise line, but it's usually within 24 hours. Whatever payments you make will go out to the cruise line. And important information with regards to the passport. So of course you typically have to have 6 months validity after the return date from when you travel. You agree to the terms and conditions and make payment. You will then receive email confirmation, which will have reference numbers that you need to do online check-ins with cruise lines. It'll have contact details for our agents who will be assigned to you to look after your booking and who will be your point of contact moving forward. And of course, any questions that you may have, you can get in contact with us. So thank you very much for your time today. This is our amazing cruise engine, which I suppose is the cruise version of like your Skyscanners and your Webjets, where you want to look at lots of different cruises, and rather than going to different cruise lines websites and doing the search a million times to find which one's right for you, you come to here, you put in the information that you know, and it will give you all of the options from all of the major cruise lines across the world with live pricing and availability, and of course most importantly in Australian dollars.